to everybody who is out there who are enjoying this great Thursday afternoon and have taken this Thursday afternoon to share some time with us today as we talk about continuing education. Now, if anyone is like me, we've had those challenges in getting those caregivers in, making sure that we're not taking them out of the field and putting them into training when we're losing billable hours. The conflict goes on and on. But today we're actually having some time with Megan Mendez, and Megan is with us from CE That Matters. And if anybody is out there looking for an alternative solution to continuing education for their caregivers or for their nurses, you're in the right place. Megan Mendez, she's here with us. She's going to share about CE That Matters. Join us, Megan. Good afternoon. Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it is an absolute pleasure. I know you're excited about being here. She said, I've got to get my lipstick on. I've got to get my lipstick on.
Yes.
So, Megan, look, you have a great story. You come into this field of education by means of you being a nurse. Tell us a little bit about your journey in terms of your professional career.
Okay, thank you. So I became a nurse as a second career. Prior to nursing school, I had a master's and a bachelor's in business. But someone who had a lot to do with my upbringing, she always had it in school, and the whole 9/11 and all of that happened. I needed something else to do, and I started my nursing journey. I did my bachelor's in nursing, and then I went back for my nurse practitioner, which is a master's in nursing. And that's when I really, after getting that, is when I started teaching nursing students, teaching in some NP programs, and I realized that I had a love for this. It's good. It gave me a good feeling to break things down for my students, and
Right.
just to get down to them and see what challenges they were having and how I could help them to be successful in nursing.
So that brings me to my question then. So what your research, when you did your research, when you was, jumping over into that new area of business or entrepreneurship, what were your research challenges as it relate to continuing education and training? What were you finding that brought you to this place?
So one of the biggest concerns was the cost. Like I when I took over my agency, we were paying like $300, three something a month for Care Academy. And so that was a big thing, the cost. I also found that my caregivers, they did not like the system because they felt that it went into too much depth, and it was almost like they were talking to a child. That's the description that some of the caregivers gave. But those were the two main things: the fact that it was costly and it didn't meet their needs, and just realizing that a lot of people who are agency owners are not necessarily, millionaires. Some of them really need that help, and they need compliance. Everyone does. Everyone needs continuing education, but just having a system that's affordable to everyone was something that we wanted to do.
So that was really the experiences that you had with, number one, when you started your own agency, because taking it just back just a little bit. So you said that you acquired an agency yourself, correct, Megan?
Yes, I purchased my agency in 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah, right.
And he was trying to get out, and I was trying to get in. I was trying to get out of Jersey, and this agency presented itself in Georgia, and I just basically packed up my two youngest ones in my and drove to Georgia. And
Wow.
we closed on the agency, and it's just been a really great fun ride. I didn't know I would enjoy it as much as I have.
But now you're splitting yourself, and now it's going into not just, being an owner operator yourself, but now we're also looking at adding on to that in terms of that continuing education. So
Right.
briefly explain to us your platform.
So CE That Matters. It's a platform where caregivers can access it on a computer, a desktop. They can access it on their phone. We're actually working on an app now so that, wherever they are, they can access that system. It's very user friendly. It's easy to manage. The group leaders, we assign group leaders for agencies so that they can see what their caregivers are doing. They could print certificates, they could print reports. So it's a very user friendly, simple system to use.
Okay. And I know for myself, in obviously, managing home care agencies with employees, that comes along with it too, is that sometimes, we find that tug of war between ourselves in terms of compliance, and that with the caregivers who say, oh, I don't need to do that. Look, I'm going to my job. I'm there from 8 to 2. I punch in, I punch out, I give her a wash, I do all of these things. But the compliance side of it that we have to consider, they don't necessarily always see that in terms of it being important and required. So again, what are the difficulties for caregivers, and what you've seen in the current customers that you have when they're using your platform, of the caregivers actually utilizing it, getting in, logging in, completing them, and having a successful, year of education?
So I have this is very funny. A caregiver that we hired, she came in and I think she was supposed to start with a client and something happened with the client. So she was home for about a week or so. And she called us one day, she called someone in the office and she says, I don't know if I was supposed to do this, but I think I've done every class on the platform. And it
Wow.
was not a good thing, meaning that she did up, but she said it was so easy to use. I had a week at home and I just wanted to be good and ready, for when
Oh,
you guys
wow.
need it. So
We should we should take her and we should clone her.
I know. She was a medical assistant. So, she didn't find it too hard to use or difficult to use, but she was happy that she had something and she said, yes, I can do this. So
Wonderful.
that kind of helped us with the other caregivers. It's a kind of, we have to adopt that no excuse policy, and
Sure.
at least assign them, say, hey, you have to do this many hours. And that has really gone up a lot since we've discontinued the other system and used this one.
Right. Now, your programs not just cover for CNAs, home health aides, PCTs. You actually go into the nursing education and CEUs also, and also just describe and just share with us, the states in which you have your approved credits.
Okay. So, in order to be accredited as an education provider, continuing education provider, as long as you're accredited in one of the states for nursing, that should be okay. So we're accredited. We did that in 2021, I believe, and we're accredited for the next 5 years. So we have a renewal in 5 years. And basically, what we have to do is continue to have those courses created and make sure that they're fitting the standards defined by the Board of Nursing. So that's where we are right now, and we're continuously adding new courses to the platform.
Right. And that was going to be my question, Megan. So in adding these different courses and subject matters, you must have a team that are continually looking at, legislation as well as regulations, and even things that may not necessarily be written, that we
Right.
know in our industry could be very, very important, as we try to encourage and educate our employees. Would that be the
Yeah.
case?
Yes, that is. With Georgia and the Carolinas in mind. So we made sure that we covered all the requirements for those states. But we've had people from other states come on and say, hey, we need so and so and so and so. And we're like, okay, give us some time. We go ahead and we create those courses and we've loaded them on the platform so that, as we go along, we're very open to courses or needs
And
of
suggestions, right,
agency owners and suggestions. And we're
right.
incorporating that as we go.
So I'm going to ask you the multi-million-dollar question, and that is, what makes CE Matters different?
So, CE that matters. What makes it different is that it's nurse owned. I think nurse, just the word nurse for everybody, people trust nurses, and I wanted something that was done by us for us, and
Right.
not just a platform that somebody created, but this is actually an agency owned, nurse owned platform that
That
really,
gets it.
really listens to what agency owners have to say. And we're open to making it better, bigger and better for everyone. So, and our costs, I mean, in comparison to a lot of the others that's out there, we are definitely way more affordable and
So
better
let's
value for
so
money.
let's talk about cost and value. Let's put that right up there. What are we talking about as it relates to cost? What comes with it? Give us that quick snapshot of, if I was to, engage with CE that matters, what is my package looking like? What is it going to be? What is it going to be costing me? And do I have to sell my firstborn to pay for it?
So, so CE that matters right now is $49 per month for all your caregivers. If you have 100 caregivers, it's $49 per month. If you have 3 caregivers, it's $49 per month. And what I normally say to people with this is that they'll say to me, "Oh, well, I have in services." I say, "How much do you pay for your in services?" Well, it doesn't cost me anything because I just have a nurse come in and do it. And I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't cost you anything? First, you
Because you
have
got
to
to
pay
pay the
your nurse,
nurse. Right.
right? And the nurse is not cheap. Then
Right.
you have to bring all your caregivers in. You have to pay them for that time that they come in. You have to feed them. You have to use electricity, air,
Oh, I
all of
don't feed
these things.
mine.
Right.
I'm one of them bad bosses. I don't feed mine.
Well, you probably got to give them some water, something.
At least, right?
And I know that you can put a price point to that. But for CE that matters, all you have to do is, once you hire your caregiver, you sign them onto the system, you let them know they have to go in, they have to do this, they have to do that. And it costs you nothing. They're doing it on their own time. So you're not paying them for this time. Two, you're giving them some kind of responsibility. They're taking a responsibility for their future with your company and their future as a caregiver. And they're ensuring that they're continuing their education so that they can better take care of your clients. So
Right.
I mean, that's something that money really can't buy. That $49 is nothing in comparison to all the benefits that you're
Right.
getting from
Right.
it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, look, we know that we're going to get those challenges. We're going to get that pull and tug, that tug of war type of relationship at times with those caregivers. But you are going to have those caregivers that get it.
Right,
And
right,
for most part, continuing education has to be something that we continue to
right,
encourage. CE continue to encourage.
right.
Um, but for most part, like you said, from the compliance standpoint, you've got to be on point. And from the professional standpoint, wanting to make sure that your caregivers are fully informed on whether it be dementia, transferring, and all of those different things that they have at their fingertips. So totally understand it. And again, for $49.99 a month,
Right. You can't
excellent.
you can't really beat it. I mean, it's like going out and getting coffee now. Just going out on the road, you spend $49 without even thinking
Or
about
getting
it.
my nails done. But by the way, because I've just broke a nail, just saying. I'm just saying. Megan, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. But as I do with everybody that joins us on our broadcasts, it's just to really summarize, CE that matters. Summarize for our owners, our new owners, those who may be, middle of the road, or those who are very seasoned. Just summarize for me, your thoughts and the takeaways as it relates to continuing education.
So I got a call today from an agency owner in North Carolina, and she was telling me that she didn't have any system. Players were coming out, and she had paid someone to do a mock survey. And the person basically told her, "What are you using for continuing education?" And she said, "Nothing." And the person was like, "Well, you need to get on board with that ASAP."
Right,
Um,
right,
and she called us today. She did a demo, and she got the system, because one of the things that surveyors tend to look for when they come is they want you to hand them something, a report, something that shows what continuing education has been done for your caregivers. Because if continuing education was not important, it wouldn't be a requirement for
right.
people like nurses. I know, like in some states like Georgia, you don't just tell them you've done continuing education. You have to show
Show
them
them.
that you've done
Correct,
it. They
correct.
do audits, they do random audits. And so that's one of the last things that you want to be caught in. And especially in a case that is not going to cost you, it's not an arm and a leg or a kidney. Um, it's very easy to just put it on over there and leave it there instead of you having to call in a nurse and do all of this. And that's too much finagling and logistics and whatever. You can just pay for some system, a system, even if it's not mine, but a system, so
Right.
that you have some kind of process in place for
Right, right.
continuing education.
Absolutely. And I know for myself, having other licenses that I have to, 30 continuing education units every 2 years. That's a lot of hours, really, and then forget about if you've got multiple, licenses that you
Yeah.
carry. It can, and I actually think, and this could be something that you may want to take to the legislators, Megan, is that, even our caregivers, yes, the surveys may come in and they may look at your records and they may say that, okay, then this is good. We need to be able to have our caregivers, because they have licenses, to be also responsible in showing and submitting their completed CEUs when they're
Mhm.
going up for their license renewal. Just like a nurse does, just like a doctor has,
Right.
just like my assisted living administrator license, I have to do that. As my real estate license, I have to do that. And I think we need to take that down now to our grassroots, because our
Right.
grassroots are that is really maintaining and keeping our businesses today, and it all falls on the hands of those caregivers. So you may want to take that to the White House one day.
I'll try.
If you do go to the White House, make sure that you bring me along.
Okay.
Megan, I thank you so very much for your time today and sharing with us about CE that matters. What is the best way, and how is it that we can, or one of our viewers and anybody who's listening today, how can they reach you?
So our website is www.cethatmatters.com. And our phone number is 762-254-6501.
Did you have to think about that?
Yes.
Okay, so you got to repeat that. And what the telephone number?
762-254-6501.
Megan,
And
it's been an
we're also
absolute
on
pleasure.
Facebook as well. So you can find us on
Facebook and all the social media handles,
yeah.
you're out there. Megan, it's been an absolute pleasure. Continue doing what you're doing, my love. I know that you've got this burning desire. It was something that was given to you to do and to create, and you're creating it. So we here at Home Care Business Advice continue to encourage you to do that. And I'm sure the owners that we have out here applaud you for taking that stance and saying, okay, then we want to make sure that the delivery of care is on point, over and above what is required of us in the industry. So I take my hat off to you. But until next time, you take care.
Thank you.
You're welcome.